Welcome to everyone. This is CTG Corporate, and we are talking today with our international partners about walking through and what ways can we take you through a virtual tour of real estate opportunities in the Dominican Republic, which also comes with the perks of being a short-term rental. So there's return we're going to be talking about there. So today we will quickly but officially move through our introductions, the introductions of the locations, the communities, the homes themselves, frequently asked questions, how to enroll, and a general timeline. That's pretty much our agenda right there. Let's take a moment to introduce our team. And for the folks that are in here, I'll make sure I give them an introduction. But let's just get started with you, Victor. How are you? Thank you for joining us again.
Thank you. This is Victor Makolu, CPA, part of the team. I'm excited for this opportunity. We've been working on this. TJ has been tirelessly working on this. And so we bring you a good deal that we hope that will spark your interest, and then you'll be able to, a very good investment opportunities when we're bringing you out here. So listen on, and if you have any questions at the end, please feel free, and then we'll address them. Thank you.
Thank you, Victor. I'm going to pass the mic right on to Omar and then to Susan, and I'll just introduce Carol. And I know Elvis will be joining us, so we'll get his introduction in a little bit.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Omar. I am the international relations person, and I will be helping you understand some of the questions or answering some of the questions that you might have regarding this opportunity, and here to help out in any way we can to see if this is the right fit for everybody involved.
Okay, Susan, you can go ahead and introduce yourself. And if you're just joining us, we do ask that you go ahead and mute your mics and also turn off your video feed just to increase our bandwidth for the presentation. And then right after that, we'll all unmute and talk about this thing as a roundtable discussion. But let's first get Susan's introduction.
Hi, everybody. I'm Suzanne White. I work for Licova, and I hope you get the property of your dreams.
And it's short but sweet. I love it, Suzanne. So let's talk about Carol, which she isn't, and she normally isn't here, but we'd like to recognize her as well, because she is the lead of our guest relations. So if you've been in a webinar with us before, you may have met her, but she's the one that's really wrangling all of our co-hosts and getting all of our guest communications and our systems messaging day in and day out. She's taking care of that. Sometimes she pops in, sometimes she pops out. It just depends on what the day looks like. So she's really our guest operational specialist, and she's also very fluent in the Spanish language. So that's Carol Lilly. And I will introduce Elvis. You know, he's a part of Licova. He is the owner of Licova, but I wanted him, you know, he's our partner. I wanted him to introduce himself. He's running late. He was here for the rehearsal, but he is running a little late for this, but he will be in, and we'll get his introduction at the time, okay? So I'm going to ask one more time that everybody hold their questions as we jump right into our presentation here. Our vision can be better explained as the purpose for this webinar, and that's to introduce to those who may be interested in real estate opportunities outside of the boundaries of the United States, but just haven't been presented the opportunity or the right opportunity. Today, we have options for purchase that span both the east and the west side of the country, with the west being the center of activity around the capital of Santo Domingo, just west of Juan Dolio. We also have some offerings on the east side where you'll find more of the all-inclusives there. You'll find the more inclusives there in those calmer beaches, especially in the Punta Cana area, Meaches, and also Cap Cana. Those are some of the areas I would like to highlight there. Here are just a few community projects available right now. We have Ocean Bay, Captiva Bay in the Meaches area, right outside of Punta Cana on the east side. We also have Palmas 2. It should be noted that Palmas 1 is completely sold out. So at the time we were putting this together, Palmas 1 had options there, but as of today, those options are no longer available. And on that next slide, we are going to do a virtual walkthrough of the Palmas 2 offerings that we have. So one thing to note is that all of these these units are short-term rental approved, and the communities are built around supporting short-term rental activity. They come furnished with furnishing packages. So they don't come furnished, but you can get the furnishing packages and they are fully managed, and that makes it for a turnkey short-term rental offering there. So let's take a look at the virtual tour of Palmas 1 and 2 by our friend Mike Masters to give us an idea of what's being offered. The contact information has been updated. And if you are specifically interested in the Palmas 2 or any of our offerings, we have Susan. She's already introduced herself. Suzanne is going to be our dedicated enrollment specialist. She has a lot of specialties, but for Licova, she's who our customers would see and our owners would see in order to enroll into the process for getting some of these units. So let's just take a look at this walkthrough here. Let's go back. Let me see if I can click that. Let's try it this way.
In today's episode of Mike Masters Presents, we will once again be going back to Vista Cana, this wonderful development that never ceases to amaze with all their options for investment. Palmas is a project that was sold out, but they have expanded into Palmas 2, and already many units have been sold. So let's get into the details of this expansion. Palmas 2 will have 2-level villas in 2 styles and sizes to choose from, Villa Palmera and Villa Areca. These villas will be made with 2 bedrooms and double height areas that allow for that feeling of amplitude and space. There's also an added plus that we will be discussing. Villa Palmera will be approximately 1,130 square feet. The first level will have the living room, a kitchen with an island where you can also use to sit at for breakfast, dining room, a guest bathroom alongside a laundry room, and a big yard for entertainment and enjoyment with a terrace and the option of a jacuzzi, which has an additional cost. There will also be parking for 2 vehicles. The second level will have 2 bedrooms, each with private balconies. The master bedroom will have its own private bathroom. The added plus is that there's a family room, which you can convert into a 3rd bedroom. Plus there's a bathroom these other 2 bedrooms can share. Just to mention as a side note, for the most part, extra bedrooms cost more. And if it's sold as such, you will pay that price. But here you have the option of converting the family room into a 3-bedroom without that added cost. Definitely a benefit for the investor. And if this will be a rental unit, you can maximize your profits by offering it as a 3-bedroom villa. Villa Areca will be approximately 1,270 square feet. The first level will have the living room, a kitchen with an island, dining room, a guest bathroom alongside a laundry room, and a big yard with a terrace, and the option of a jacuzzi, which again has an additional cost. There will also be parking for 2 vehicles. The second level will have 2 bedrooms, each with private terraces. The master bedroom will have a walk-in closet and a private bathroom. The added plus is that there's a studio with a closet and a private balcony. It shares a bathroom with the second bedroom. As I already mentioned, for the most part, extra bedrooms cost more if you bought it as such. But here you have the option of converting the studio into a 3rd bedroom without that added cost. Once again, a benefit for the investor. And if this will be a rental unit, you can also maximize your profits by offering it as a 3-bedroom villa. As you can appreciate in these artist renditions, you will have plenty of space to enjoy, relax, and entertain guests. How can you acquire one of these units that are selling fast? You can reserve your unit with $3,000. Within 20 days of reserving, you must sign the purchase agreement and put down 10% of the price of the unit. Then you pay 30% of the unit price during the construction phase. The balance of 60% is to be paid in full upon delivery, or you can acquire financing. The delivery date is scheduled for June 2023. a little less than 2 years from now. And last but not least for sure, Palmas 2 is located in Vista Cana, where you will have access to all the private amenities such as a beach, fishing lake, restaurants, bars, the only illuminated 9-hole 3-par golf course in the Caribbean, and much more. Well, that's all we have for today. I hope you found this information informative.
All right, we're just going to move on, and that is pretty accurate. I've seen those units myself firsthand, and like I said, the Palmas 1 is sold out, and there's just a few units left in Vista Cana. So I'm going to transition a presentation over to Omar Morced, who will explain the different ways you can finance real estate in the Dominican Republic. He's going to walk us through just 3 of those ways we're going to talk about today. So Omar, I'm going to mute and you could take it away.
Yes, absolutely. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. We're going to talk briefly about the purchase options and go through the pros and cons. So in essence, there's really 2 ways that we're talking, or 2 options that we have. One is that you're investing in an LLC that is purchasing these units. And the other option is that you are purchasing these units yourself. And when you purchase yourself, there's obviously 2 options. One is if you have cash, and then the other one is if you purchase with financing. So in option A, you're investing in the LLC. This is a shorter term investment. You are a member of the LLC and you are going to get a percentage of the income profit. You also will have access to a pool of like-kind units, meaning that the LLC will be purchasing in different areas, not only in the Dominican Republic, but in other parts of the world, to be honest, and you will be able to exchange I believe we said, was it 5 days of time? So you're gonna, as part of that investment, part of the perks is getting a week of usage every year. With option B, purchase with financing, that is when you will be, selecting your unit. The developer, it's either going to be developer finance or bank finance, depending on which one is more advantageous for you. On that one, obviously, you are now an owner. So your benefit is that you'll be gaining equity in the property as appreciation happens. And all of these units are going to be professionally managed as short-term rentals. So not only is this investment, not only are you going to be able to pay for the investment, but based on our projections, there will be a profit that will be turned. So you're actually profiting from owning a property in the Dominican Republic. You will have access, obviously, to your unit. It's your unit, and you will just reserve that whenever you want to use it. Now, option C is the same thing, except this would be a complete cash purchase, obviously maximum equity, and still the same other things, professionally short-term rental management, as well as access to your unit. Next slide. So some of the benefits and considerations that you need to take in account, obviously, in option A. So all of them have the same thing as the profit potential of each unit. All options they're fully professionally managed short-term rentals. In option A, you'll have access to the pool of accessible units, pool of likewise like-kind units. And the only qualification is that you have enough cash to invest into the LLC. And we have not cemented the option, but I do believe it's going to begin around $25,000. The considerations that you need to take in account is that you're not going to build equity into the property, and that depending on the amount invested is based off the percentage of returns that you're going to receive. With option B, purchase with financing, obviously still the same profit potential, fully managed. You get the advantage of leveraging the debt so that you have a higher ROI. You obviously get equity appreciation, and also you get conforter protection that we're going to address. But in essence, that is the protections that are given to foreign investors coming into the Dominican Republic. Some considerations is obviously you're going to have to qualify for traditional financing, and you will get access to that single unit. Option C is exactly the same thing, except obviously if you're buying complete cash, you get the max equity obviously in the home. And that just depends on your situation, and obviously still the single unit access. And we're going to cover this more in the conversation, but this is just a overview of how to acquire property. So either you are investing in an LLC that is acquiring property, or you are purchasing the unit yourself, either with cash or with financing. Next slide. Okay, and then here I'm going to pass it off to Victor, that is going to explain some of the financial projections we have put together.
All right. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Just to kind of present, based on those options, what your ROI is looking at. And so if you look at option one is a sort of a rental option, and where you put in 25, like Omar mentioned, and we're projected based on 65% occupancy and an average rate. We're projected that we'll get about $33,000 in rental income annually. And so based on that, we projected, okay, what's our rent based on, and I'm going to use the same word, like-kind property. And so our projection here is based on like-kind property. It's based on a studio, the smallest size, I mean, just one of the smallest size you can get. So which means when you do a 2-bedroom, a 3-bedroom, a 4-bedroom, and so on and so forth, that goes up from there. And so with the space is one of the smallest that you can find at the projection of one of the more expensive rates. And so if you take a good look at this now, you'd see where we have property value. Property value is $200,000. But we're saying this is for studio. So there's some opportunities there to for $200,000 to purchase something much bigger than a studio. So we've been tired with, for this presentation, we've tried to be conservative and try to give you a conservative picture of what this could look like. So like I was saying, if you option where you invest in the LLC, 25,000, rental income of about 33,000, annual rent, because we expect to be able to purchase, and so or in some cases lease the property that we're going to invest in. So we have management fees, we have association fees, water, electricity, and so on and so forth. So after that, you're looking at almost an $8,000 gross profit, which is your income minus your expenses. And so that's a pretty good return on an annual basis. With this option, which, we'll go into more detail on the terms, but we expect this has some limit to the term, and so that you get this for a consistent amount of years and be able to generate good profit on your investment. Option 2, or B, otherwise referred to as a financed option, which is when you finance. This shows you the power of financing and the power of credit and access to capital that is not yours. Because when you look at it and compare it to bringing your own cash, you would see that while bringing your own cash seems like an amazing deal, which it is, having access to capital and having access to cash is on a very different level. And so as I go through it, please just pen down any questions you have, and we'll be able to kind of help you as much as we can on options on financing through the builder. We'll be able to help you through that process. Or if you have a good retirement account, we can sort of guide you to how to access that retirement account to finance instead of coming up with 100% of cash. So the same things, but you notice here that if you finance in half of the amount, 50%, your annual mortgage is about half of the rent. And so that automatically goes down to your bottom line. and your bottom line goes from sort of 8,000 to about 13 and a half. But because you're putting in some portion of the money, your return on investment comes down. What we've tried to do here is also give you a picture of the advantage of ownership. While when you buy into the LLC, you have access to profits. You get a percentage of the profits, and then you get cash flow. But with the next two options, with the ownership options, you have access to cash flow, and then you have access to appreciation. So, and then depreciation. So I'm going to start with depreciation. In the United States, the tax law favors the owners of real estate, and it allows you to take out, for right now, I'll call it depreciation. We could go into more detail on the property. So annual depreciation on this property is about $7,200 annually. What that effectively means is that profit you have up to the amount of the annual depreciation is effectively tax-free. So we're talking about gross profit of 13 and a half on the finance of ownership. So that's profit of a 7,300 of that profit is tax-free. And so when you're thinking about your return on investment, when you're thinking, oh, it's 13%, but you want to also consider the fact that 7,300 of your profit is tax-free. And so you walk away with 7,300, and then you begin to use that to decrease your overall effective tax rate. We could go into more detail if you need to. And so you enjoy depreciation, which is a tax benefit on the US side. And then you also enjoy the appreciated value of real estate, because real estate is often going up. And so to be conservative, we have said, okay, what if real estate goes up? This real estate that you purchase goes up 3% annually. At the end of 15 years, half the term of a 30-year note, your property potentially could be worth an estimated $311,000. At that time, you've paid 15 years of mortgage. And so your initial 100 is no longer, your initial principal has reduced from 100 to 68,000. So when you cash out at 311, you're cashing out at 243. Subtract your initial 100, then you're down to 143. So, but you see, that's the beauty of being able to have access to financing. So that you're coming out with 143 when you take out and you pay yourself back and pay the mortgage company back, you cash out at 143.7. So that's a beautiful rate. If you then, compare that to 100% financing. 100% financing is good because you're in control of your cash. You have 100% equity, but because of your initial investment is a higher amount, your return on investment is lower because your initial input, even though all the other things are, your gross profit is higher, your taxable profit is also higher, but your annual return on investment is lower because of your initial investment. So your gross profit is higher, but it's a lower percentage of your initial investment. So you're looking at about 10% in that. At a 15-year term, 3% annual appreciation, you're looking at 311 again. Subtract your initial investment, you cash out 111. And so if you think about this, you cash out 111 on this cash ownership, which is slightly less than financed option of 143. So what we're encouraging is if you have access to cheap money, you should definitely get cheap money. If you are more risk averse and you want to go cash, absolutely you want to lean towards a cash ownership option where you own the property 100%, and then obviously you can pass it down from one generation to another. So this is a quick highlight. Please have your questions ready, and we'll be excited to answer those questions as we get to the end. That's it. So exit strategy. So option A, which is the LLC membership, we want you to at least be invested with us for at least a 5-year term. And so in that 5-year period, your profit on an annual basis is about $8,000. Over a 5-year period, 8 times 5, that's 40,000. And then you come in with 25, and then you come out with 40. So we want you to at least stay with us for at least about 5 years. That's why you have a 1.5x return on that. B and C, obviously, owner option. You're in control of your destiny. You could decide to, sell at any time. But we want you to also, invest with us and what we can offer you and what we can do with you in the very long term. That's where you can guarantee your profits if you invest with us, not in your money, but as in the management and in the operation of the property, so that you can get the full value of your investment. So just to kind of recap, option investing with LLC, we're going to request a 5-year term. B and C, depending on your investment, depending on property, we can work with you. But at the end of the day, you have the option. You own the property. You have the option to do as you will. All right. I line that right there.
All right. Thank you so much, Victor. Now let's talk legalities on a very broad and general level. Disclaimer, we are not legal advisors, and we do encourage you to seek your own licensed counsel for anything in real estate. For legal advice or a review of any contracts or concerns, here are some of the laws put into place to incentivize and offer protection to outside investors, starting with the Dominican's Constitution Tourism Incentive Act, Sections 158-01, also known as the Comforter. You've seen this term already here in this presentation. And what that means to potential buyers is that you get special tax advantages. Not all developers apply for this advantage, but ours do. And the advantages are in 4 broad or major components to this act. Number 1 is that there are no 3% transfer fees for folks that are covered under this Comforter protection. You do not have to pay the 3% transfer fee when a title goes from the developer to a buyer. It is waived. And number 2 is that there are no tax on rental income for 15 years. You don't pay any taxes on any of the income you make with your rental unit for 15 years. That's if you purchase a property as an investor or a buyer, just a residential buyer. And number 3 is that there are no tax on appreciation under realization for 15 years. If you purchase this property and it appreciates in value, you don't pay any taxes on that appreciation. And as you'll see as we progress, upon delivery, in a lot of cases, I don't want to put a percentage on it, in most cases, this property is delivered to you with appreciation built in it. So number 4 is that no property taxes for 15 years. There are no property taxes for 15 years, and that is for anything above $148,000. Anything under that, you were exempt anyway. And that's usually about 1%, just in case you were thinking about it. Now let's look at the BUIRD, and that's actually not an acronym, it's just the office of the BUIRD, and that's made to streamline permits, licenses, and certification in a single central access point. So if we're talking about who deals specifically with this Comforter and where you can get your questions answered, it is in that department of the BUIRD. And lastly, for honorable mention, let's talk quickly about the Foreign Investment Act of 16-95. That allows foreign investors to invest in almost any type of business, trade, and service area of the Dominican Republic. And the purpose and why we're mentioning this particular law is because it opens an opportunity for foreign investment to most sectors of the Dominican Republic economy, and to provide foreign investors with the legal guarantees, benefits, and exemptions while doing business there in the Dominican Republic. Again, it's incentivizing you to come and do this type of business effectively. This does not treat outside real estate investors any different. I've been in countries, if you've been there too, like in Italy, where really outside investors are penalized. But this does not treat any outside real estate investors any different than those who are native to the country. And again, I just want to caveat and highlight here while we're on this slide, we're not here to be your legal system or record or debunk any myths or thoughts of foreign exchange risk or political instability risk. What I could tell you after visiting this country, and I just came back for the sole purpose of evaluating whether we are and there are viable short-term rental opportunities there, is I saw about 70 to 80% of that country, specifically on the east side, under development with syndication projects funded by US dollars, funded by US money flowing into that place. So at that point, our teams focus more on how do we get into these opportunities and get these opportunities to our investors, okay? So here I'm going to pass this presentation on to Suzanne White, who's going to walk through the simple steps for enrollment as we finish out this presentation. So Susan, I'm going to mute my mic.
All right, hello everybody, and welcome. Right now, it's pretty simple to get started. A lot of people buy these sight unseen, and a lot of people are here in the United States or Canada and purchasing the properties and picking everything out by going through email. So it's fairly simple to purchase. Of course, they make it easy for you to purchase. All you have to do to get started is to pay a reservation for one of the properties, either with a credit card or a wire. It's anywhere from $3,000 is the minimum that I've seen. Basically, most of them are about $5,000 for the reserve. And then you just need a copy of your passport and a second identification document. And if you're married, you also need the copy of 2 identity documents of the spouse. You fill out a reservation form, a due diligence form, and the property is reserved for you. You have an opportunity, you can go there, you can select the building. We can provide that information through email. We have inventory lists of several different projects. It just depends, what your price range is and where you want to be at. So throughout the project, most of the time, once you get there, if you go there, you'll have your reserve, and then you'll have to put at least 20% down. And then what happens is different projects have different platforms where you would start paying. Some of them are 15%, some of it's 10% during construction. I've seen them set it up to where those 6 installments during this whole process of construction, and then the remaining 20% upon completion. And usually I have seen them be able to produce a property within 5 months, and sometimes it takes up to 2 years. It depends which project and which area that you're looking at. Okay, next slide.
Right, that's the final slide for you, Suzanne. And I'll just also mention here, as we talk about this timeline, that we do look at these as short-term vacation rentals. So we're trying to deliver those turnkey. So even after delivery, we're making sure that, it's going into the short-term rental operational stage. And then you should see your distributions either monthly or quarterly. If you decide to defer them, it would be your decision to end out that timeline there. So Susan, I'm just going to briefing. And this is a great idea that Susan brought to the table that we decided as a team to go ahead and adopt, and that's the fly and buy. If you are interested in these projects like right today, and you have maybe you've done one of these before and you have the reserves, we've seen reserves as small as $3,000. We will collect your reserves there and put you on a plane, and you will get a free tour of that particular project. So you could just really, we're calling the fly and buy incentive. So what we're looking for, reserve up front, and then we put you on a ticket. The accommodations are yours to make yourself, but we do arrange for you to do a walkthrough of those particular units. So, and I apologize, Susan, I didn't know the slide was there. So my name is Tamara Jones, and this concludes the formal portion of the briefing. Thank you.